last minute holiday preparation. It's myOrganized.life live, December 16th, 2019. 3, 2, 1. Actually,
that's not happening.
It's actually
here.
7, or we got at least another week to go. But hey, welcome to myOrganized.life live. I'm John Hunt.
And I'm Leanne Thompson.
This is the show where we give you organizing tips, advice, and today we're going to give you last minute holiday prepping tips. So
For your home, for
entertaining.
Right.
Because in the last 2 weeks, we've been part of a three-part historic podcast.
Never done before.
Yes. 2 weeks ago, we started with part 1. Last week on Wednesday was part 2. And this coming Wednesday is part 3.
Right.
But on last week's show with professional organizer Louise Korzyka, we talked about she's got all kinds of tips, but one of the things we talked about is what do you do like the last 7 days before that
before your company comes
event.
And the big event.
So let's see what she had to say. We're got to be getting close to the party now, aren't we? We've got kind of the furniture set up. What else do we need to be thinking like as we get close?
Well, there are some things I think to do, and actually you can even do these maybe a week or so before.
Oh, okay.
But kind of a checklist of some general tips that really help things go off without problems occurring. You know, it's kind of anticipating, maybe a little troubleshooting before the fact, if you will.
Well, I always like to think too, you get your house all cleaned up and then your kids mess it up like right before the people come.
Exactly.
Some of this has to be done 30 minutes before.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Anyway.
So, but I think a good week before, check all your mechanicals.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if you don't run your dishwasher all the time, if you're, say, somebody who now the kids have left home and you only run it once a week, well, make sure you run it. And because it's going to get run several times.
Right.
So make sure that's working. How about plumbing? The worst thing to happen on, a holiday is for your plumbing to not be working. Right. So making sure that if there's any, slow drains in the kitchen, maybe it's time to call in a professional and have them cleaned and prepared. So it's just really trying to think about those kinds of things.
Okay, good. So is that kind of all we need to do up? And we did in the very first episode, which was last time, we talked about the checklist, and we have some things on there that we've highlighted, the ones we think are important.
Well, you might want to add this one to your checklist. And go around to the spaces that you're going to be using and look at what of your lighting is really critical and important. Change out the light bulbs with fresh ones. Because again, in the middle of a party, you don't want to be digging around trying to find that. So just put some fresh ones in those critical spaces.
Especially if you have those 50-year light bulbs that last 6 months. Have you ever got any of those?
Yes.
Last 50 years. It's like, no, I just replaced that thing. I don't know what's going on with those things.
So if you're going to make coffee, or even if you're going to use a coffee maker for cider, that kind of thing, run through the little vinegar, the cleaner rinse cycle to make sure you don't have that bitter aftertaste that sometimes hangs around with coffee or tea and those kind of devices, so that you know that you're going to have fresh, good tasting coffee. And then I think another great idea is to have some of those tray tables also available in the kitchen area.
Yes.
And the reason you want to do that is because as you remove, especially for a sit-down dinner, as you remove plates and stacks of dishes and glassware and other things, if you can set them on the tray tables and not have to fill up the counters. It's so hard when you completely empty out everything that went on the dining room table back into the kitchen. There's no room to work. So at least if we're getting some of those things set aside, that makes it a little bit easier. Or even to prep for how to take the food out to the spaces. Be able to say, especially if you're hiring some help for, say, an evening party, be nice to say, okay, I'm taking care of this, and as soon as it's on that table, you take it around and serve people. The butler, Gerald's butler.
Gerald's butler,
could do that.
There we go.
Now, would you know which light bulbs are
well, I was thinking about that.
Not?
Yeah, because I don't think they flicker.
I don't think they flicker.
They don't get like lighter.
No, they don't. No.
I think what she's kind of talking about is like, how professional organizers will say, change your, smoke detector when it's, daylight savings time or in the spring or fall, so the batteries are always fresh.
Yeah.
Maybe just what you don't want to do is have a party and then your lights start to go out.
Right. Yes.
So maybe replace a few. You might know when that is, and
maybe.
It's just a good thing. Check your mechanicals.
Right, check your
make sure you have a new air filter. maybe
Yes,
in
don't want
your
your
furnace.
guests breathing in bad
Right.
air.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things you can do to kind of get ready at that last minute.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they're good points. And hopefully, a week from now, you're going to have a party of a lifetime.
I hope
And you'll be
so.
organized because you've watched
Yeah.
all 3 episodes of the podcast.
Yes.
Whoosh. Okay, well, this is our last week.
Right.
Of the podcast will be the last podcast until January.
Mm-hmm.
Friday will be our last blogger roundup of 2019, and
Wow.
then we'll come back in
It'll be
January.
2020.
So a busy week still. We're not cutting off early like some people.
No, we're not. Some people are.
Some people have
gone
already gone on
already.
vacation.
I know. Can you
We
believe it?
I know as this week gets on and on, it starts to
People start
filter.
popping out. Yeah. Yep.
And I'm working next Monday. I don't even know.
I was going to, but plans changed, so now I cannot.
So now we can't do the show, which we weren't going to do it
We weren't
anyway.
gonna do it anyway, so.
Okay, well, good. Come back tomorrow. We'll have another show here for you, 2 p.m. Central. By the way, actually, we didn't tell them how they can see the podcast. In case they don't, you can see it here on Facebook
Right.
live on Wednesdays
Yep.
and in the archive because everything gets saved. But you can see it over at smead.com/podcast. That's where they all,
That's where they're all.
or on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I can say come back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, myOrganized.life live.
Look professional, get organized at myOrganized.life. Give your presentation a premium appearance. Hand off projects with confidence. Organizing products with a clean and vibrant look. Make a positive impression. Your important proposals and projects shine with professionalism. Impress your customers and boss. Look professional, get organized at myOrganized.life. That's myOrganized.life. myOrganized.life.